Okay. So a nice and easy text this time. I don't know how many times I've read this now, but it's hard, as I can see by your comment as well. It's difficult to understand what he means. So anyone familiar with this idea before? Spinoza's philosophy about soul, mind, body relation. Yeah, Andrea? You read it before, you know a little bit about it.
Yeah, I read some part of the ethics that I'm supposed to teach this time. But they're still not clear to me many passages of the work. Yeah.
Yes. Let's.
I mean, I use the handbook and it seems much more easier from the handbook than from the actual work. So when I read the work, I feel stupid.
Yes. So what handbook did you use? Just the book explaining Spinoza.
Yeah, we use a handbook for school, and it's a kind of a translation of every philosophy in a, let's say, a simpler way to understand it.
No. Could you see a connection, at least, between the handbook and Spinoza's text?
Between what and what?
Between the handbook and Spinoza's text. Because I remember once I read, yes, I think it was I read Hegel. And then I read an explanation of the same book of Hegel. And I understood the explanation fairly well. I didn't understand Hegel's text. But then when I read the explanation, I didn't even realize that it was the same text. Okay, so this is apparently what I have been reading. I didn't know. But could you see when you read the handbook that, yes, indeed, it talks about this, and now it's clear.
Yeah, I can see a connection. Yes, I can see a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll see how much of it we can clear up today.
Yeah.
So, yes, before we dive into all the problems, anyone wants to say something just in general about this, about the text, Spinoza, the soul, something? Yeah, Anna?
Yes, I found the text very, very difficult. It was very aromatic to me, so I have to read it several times. I tried with the French translation, which wasn't better, and it was very hard. I have a lot of incomprehension in this text.
Well, you're not alone.
Okay.
Yes, okay, good. Ian, you wanted to say something as well?
I was wondering how, well, two things actually. One is how independently can this text be read, like in its fragment form? Because it, for me, it seemed difficult, but also like incomplete. He's like mentioning different passages throughout the book, and maybe that's another reason why it's difficult. Maybe that's Spinoza's style, that you cannot just take a portion and understand it. You need to actually go throughout the entire, at least, chapter.
Yes, it could be a factor, of course. But I think at the same time we will deal with what we have and try to understand what we have, and then we'll just have to be happy with that. Because complete understanding, I don't think is possible. And then you can say maybe you need to read the whole chapter, yeah, but then maybe you need to read the whole book, but then maybe you need to read all of Spinoza, and maybe you need to read So I know sometimes people say if you want to understand Marx, you have to read Hegel. Okay, but if you want to understand Hegel, maybe you need to read Kant. If you want to understand Kant, you need to read, and so on. So that at one point you have to stop.
I know, but I think
it's always a problem, of course. Yeah, maybe if we read some more, we would understand it better.
I'm wondering if with Spinoza, I think with Spinoza that's more the case. With other texts we've read, the text, let's say, managed to stand by themselves in a fragment way. But here it's it's. I also checked the Romanian translation. It was like in another language. my language translation.
It didn't help.
Not too much. Not too much.
No. I know. I checked it in my language as well. It didn't make it any easier. I know it's mission impossible, or we'll deal with what we have, and we see where we end up. Yes. All right. So, any other comments? General ones for now? No. Okay. So let's go to the document. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Let's start with Milos. Yes, you quote from the beginning, and then you say, there is an assumption that God constitutes the essence of the human mind, which needn't be false, but should be inquired. Okay. Can you just say something about it? Why do you think this needs to be inquired?
Okay. Because if we are exploring through the article, we can find that this assumption not only in this article but in whole Spinoza's ethics, that God constitutes our being, and it's connected with his proposal quod est in Deus est, and it's a kind of his postulate, not axiom. Axiom is different. And I think it could be beneficial to explore it. So it is problematic.
So do you want us to explore it, or you think that he should have explored it?
I expected this question, so I don't expect to explore it on the beginning, but I hope that in one point we can take into account to explore this assumption.
So when you use right, but should be inquired, you're referring to us. We should inquire.
Yes. I'm not insist, but at some point maybe it could be explored.
Yes. And I think Andrea has a question about more or less the same thing. So yes, maybe we'll come to it. Okay, so let's leave that for now. We'll come back to it and maybe go for the problem that I see in quite a few of your writings here. Okay, so we have Caroline, for instance. You say, is the author saying that ideas are objects in the human mind, or objects that human minds need to come across, and therefore that the body is a concept inside the human mind? Yes. So, Caroline, can you clarify it? What is the confusion here? What is strange here?
Well, to be honest, the whole text was confusing to me, so I wasn't sure if I had understood or not.
No, I'm sure you did not understand, because nobody here has understood it, at least completely. So can you rephrase your question?
So the part where he's saying, where was it? Whoever so comes to pass in the object of any idea, the knowledge therefore is necessarily in God. I don't know. I was just trying to put something, but I wasn't really sure.
Yeah. So what do you want to know here? What is confusing?
Well, basically, what is he talking about?
Well, yeah. What do you think he's talking about if you make it very general?
Mind,
Mind, yes. Anything else?
the body being an idea, maybe.
Body being an idea, yes. So this body, the mind body idea thing, it's confusing.
Yeah, kind of the way he puts it is confusing.
Yes. Do you have an idea of what he's saying here, or it's just a mess?
It's probably a mess to me.
Yeah. So if we look at your question again, can you read it?
Is the author saying that ideas are objects in the human mind, or objects that human minds still need to come across, and therefore that the body is a concept inside the human mind? So is he saying that ideas are objects?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And then is the body one of those objects that we need to kind of discover?
Okay, so are ideas objects in the human mind? And then could it be that the body is one of these objects in the human mind? Was that
Yeah,
question?
that's what I was asking.
Okay. So let's see if we just reformulate it like this. Are ideas objects in the mind? And is the body such an object in the mind? Something like this?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Does anyone have an idea here about this? Who thinks they can clarify something or has an insight? Maybe you think this makes sense, or no, it's not like this. Just as confusing for everyone. All right, Anna, what do you think?
I just, we read the beginning of the proof of the second proposition, the 13, proposition 13, it is written, if indeed the body were not the object of the human mind. So this implies that yes, it is. Body is the object of the human mind.
If indeed the body were not the object of the human mind. Okay. It implies, yes, that the body is the object of the human mind. Okay. So what do you make of this? Does it mean that the body is this an idealistic idea? The body is not material, it's just part of the mind.
I have a hard time to clarify this.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
Right. for me, it's confused if he's saying that the mind is the nature of the mind is the same of the body. I don't know if it.
Where do you see this?
Well, when in the proposition, he says the object of the idea constituting the human mind is the body. But yeah, this is confused for me also.
Yes, in other words, a certain mode of extension which actually exists and nothing else. Okay, so the body is a mode of extension, it actually exists, yes. And the object of the idea constituting the mind is the body. Yes, it is confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Anyone who would like to try and clarify something here? You raised your hand, so you took it back.
I was thinking.
Pierre. Let's go with Pierre first. What do you think?
Yes, I take the proposition 13, the first part, the object of the idea constituting the human mind is the body. So the object is the body. So the object of the idea is the body. So here we have the object, and the idea of the object is the human mind. So there is in the grammar part, there is one subject, which is the object of the idea constituting the human mind, and then the body, which is the, I don't know in English, but predicate, I suppose. So the object is the body, and the idea of the object is in human mind. So there is a big separation between human mind and body. I see it. I think it.
Which comes from which, or they are completely separate?
They make some unification, but there are separation in it. Because he talks after about affection. So affection of the body affect your mind also. The idea of the idea, so your mind.
But you're saying that they're completely separate. Then again, the affections of the bodies affect the mind.
Yes. There is a unity, but still they are separate.
But what is this idea which constitutes the human mind? Where does this idea come from? You have an idea or not?
I don't understand the question.
Well, it says here, the object of the idea constituting the human mind is the body. So the object of the idea is the body. Yeah?
Yes, yes.
And this idea, we have an idea which constitutes.
Yes, sorry. I think
it's the body. So where does this idea come from, which constitutes the mind?
I'm lost. I don't understand.
No.
I don't understand the question. Yeah.
Well, my question is, first of all, we have an idea, okay?
Okay.
And the idea constitutes the human mind.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the object of this idea is the body.
Yes.
So where does the idea come from in the first place? From the mind, from the body, from God? What is
Yes,
the
I think it's from the body, because at one moment, I don't know where, but Spinoza talks about affection of the body, which creates affection to your mind. So the origin will be your body.
The origin would be the body. But that goes against what Anna just said, when she said the body is the object of the human mind. But do you think this is a contradiction or what?
That the idea is, again, sorry.
Yeah, in the proof of proposition 13, it says, if indeed the body were not the object of the human mind, so Anna said this implies that the body is the object of the human mind.
Mhm.
That sounds like the body would come from the mind, but you're saying that the mind comes from the body. So do you think we have a contradiction here?
I don't see it. So the body were not the object of human mind, but the body is the object of human mind. So,
The body is the object of the human mind.
mm.
But you just said that the mind comes from the body. So do these two ideas go together, you think?
I think yes.
Explain how.
If you have some affections to your body, it affects also your soul. I don't remember your spirit, your mind.
Yeah.
So there is a correlation between your body and your soul. And when you say the body is the object of human mind, yes, you have a link between human mind and body. So your body, the object of human mind, doesn't exclude each other.
Now, indeed, there is a link. But when you say the body is the object of human mind, which comes first here, the body or the mind?
I think it's a body, but I'm not sure. Okay, I don't have right now some proof. I remember vaguely.
Yeah, no, we're just looking at this sentence. If we say that the body is the object of the human mind, are we then saying that the body comes from the mind or that the mind comes from the body?
Yeah.
Which one?
I think I don't know.
No.
I have no clue. Yeah.
So anyone who can help us here clear some things up? Andrea, you have an idea?
Yes, I have a third option to
Right.
offer. So it's not that the body comes from the mind or vice versa, but it's that both mind and body come from God. So the God is the foundation of both of them.
Yeah. And do we have that? Do you have a place in the text where we can see this? It's not in any particular place.
I think I read somewhere. Yes, I think it's when he says. Let me check. Okay. For of everything, there is necessary an idea in God, of which God is the cause. In the same way as there is an idea of the human body. Thus, whatever we have asserted of the idea of the human body must necessarily also be asserted of the idea of everything else. I think here there is
So which part was this in?
It's not proposition 13.
it's afterwards.
Which one?
No, it's still the proposition 13, but is the explanation added at the end.
Okay, the note.
The note, yes.
Okay, so can you repeat it?
Yes, let me find it again. So, I lost the passage. Okay. For of everything, there is necessary an idea in God, of which God is the cause. In the same way as there is an idea of the human body. Thus, whatever we have asserted of the idea of the human body must necessarily also be asserted of the idea of everything else.
Yeah, all right.
So here, I think Spinoza is saying that God is the foundation of every idea, included the idea of the human body.
So then, do we have a separation here, clear separation between body and mind, or it's not so clear?
I think there is a separation, but in this passage, I don't think it's clear.
Yeah. Yes.
In a way, it seems that the idea comes first, the body. But as long as I know Spinoza from the handbook, body and mind are two different attributes of the same God, the foundation. So I was trying to use that knowledge in order to translate or to understand better this passage.
Yes, indeed. He talks about the mind and the body, so he separates them, but not two completely different entities. They are rather connected.
Yeah, it's in a way are two different expressions of God.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they are related to each other, of course.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good. So, yes, Anna, you wanted to say something as well?
Yeah, just about the last question about what is this union between mind and body? Is it very really separated or not? It seems that Spinoza says we cannot answer yet with just this text, because in the note he says we thus comprehend not only that the human mind is united to the body, but also the nature of the union between mind and body. However, no one will be able to grasp this adequately or distinctly unless he first has adequate knowledge of the nature of our body. So we would have to investigate the nature of the body before being able to really differentiate it from the mind.
Yeah. But so far, what is he saying here about the relation?
It's a union.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, the object of the mind is the body.
It's a union, yes. But does he say that the object of Yeah, okay, the object of the mind is the body. So indeed, in the proof, like you pointed out, he says the object of the mind is the human body. But in the proposition above, he says the object of the idea constituting the mind is the body.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same thing here. The object of the mind or the object of the idea constituting the human mind.
Yes.
Yes. And the idea which constitutes the human mind, then could we understand this as being God, you think?
I don't know if we can identify it with God.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know if it's an identification or is it just an implication that God knows everything. So.
But you think it's about knowledge here, God's knowledge?
Yes, I take this concept because he, in the proof of the first proposition, he says that whatsoever takes place in the object constituting the idea of the human mind, the knowledge, therefore, is necessarily in God. So far as he constitutes the essence, the essence of the human mind.
Yes, okay, we have knowledge, and as well, the last part you read.
Yes.
God constitutes the essence of the human mind.
Yes.
So then, could it be that the idea constituting the human mind would then come from God?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Andrea said, yes. Okay. Good. Okay. Yes. So let's see what it says here in the beginning. Unless someone else has something they would like to point out right now. You would like to add something to this? No? Okay. So we have a proposition 12. Whatsoever comes to pass in the object of the idea which constitutes the human mind must be perceived by the human mind. Okay, so we have the object of an idea which constitutes the human mind. Okay, and we know from further down that this is the body. So everything which comes to pass in the body must be perceived by the human mind. Okay. And then the proof, whatsoever comes to pass in the object of any idea, the knowledge thereof is necessarily in God. Okay, so whatever comes to pass in the body or the object of any idea is known by God. All right. And then, from what we read here, it was a bit confusing. Is the mind part of the body or is the body part of the mind? But as well, we have something which I think can be important. If we go to the note here, to the end of the first page, where it says the third line, The propositions we have advanced hitherto have been entirely general, applying not more to men than to other individual things, all of which, though in different degrees, are animated. Right? So other individual things, not just men, but individual things, objects, basically everything to a certain degree is animated. So this would mean then that there is a soul in everything, that everything is animated. So then the way I see this is that there isn't a complete separation between mind and body, but rather that there are bodies or there are things. It can be human bodies or it can be any object, any physical object. And then any object is animated. Everything is animated. So everything has a soul in it. Yeah. So this would be a kind of animated world where we can still make a separation between the body and the soul. They're not completely the same thing, but at the same time, they're impossible to separate because the soul is in every body and the anima is in everything. So what do you think? Does this make sense? Or do you think it goes against the text? Anna?
Yes, I think it makes sense. It's helped me to clarify in the second paragraph the proof of the proposition 12 when he says that God constitutes the mind of anything. And at first it was strange for me to think of what is this anything, if not human beings or animals. But this undetermined word, anything, makes sense with what you explain after.
Yes. So it's very different from Descartes, for instance, who says that only humans have souls and the rest of the world is just matter. Dead matter, he even says.
Yeah.
And animals are like robots. But here now everything has a soul.
That's, yes. Is it even, can we say that it's even different from Aristotle, who recognized the mind for human, animals, and plants? Does it make sense to say that a rock has a mind for Spinoza?
What do you think?
Mhm.
You have an idea?
Based on what we just said, yes, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, if he says that other individual things, all of which, though in different degrees, are animated, that would mean that a piece of rock is also animated to some degree.
Yes, and because it seems that for Spinoza, the mind is related to ideas. And in the second paragraph, the proof of the 12th proposition, proposition 12, when he says, whatsoever comes to pass in the object of any idea, the knowledge therefore is necessarily in God, insofar as he is considered as affected by the idea of the said object. And then that is insofar as he constitutes the mind of anything. So it seems that if God can be affected by the object, the idea of an object, it means that this object has a mind. It implies this object has a mind, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so again, how do you understand idea here? Is it different from mind?
No.
But then did you say that there are ideas in everything?
Yes.
Okay, so the idea of the said object, you understand that it is the object which has an idea.
No, it's not the object, but there is necessarily an idea about any object.
Yes. And the idea would be God's idea about the object.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So let's see now, Caroline, did this clarify anything?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did it clarify, or how did you understand?
So now I know that the body is an object, but it's still united with the mind, according to Spinoza. And that ideas are, well, any concept is also something outside of the mind that must come in.
Yeah, can you repeat that last thing?
Where I had asked, are ideas objects in the mind?
Mhm.
Yes, I guess they are now. I mean, I guess I understand that more now.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so let's check. Does this make sense that ideas are objects in the mind? Let's see with the group. No, no one has an idea really.
Should we raise hand?
Well, if you have an answer to the question.
Oh, I thought we were asked if we agree that it makes sense.
But you think it makes sense?
That ideas are object of the mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay, you think it makes sense for common sense, so you think this is you can see in the
but-
text.
No, yes, it's not what it says in the text.
Yeah.
It's the body.
So the body is the object of the mind. So it's the ideas which constitute the human mind.
Sorry, is it for me the question or?
No, I'm just talking to myself.
Okay.
I know it's this Spinoza, it's confusing everyone. So yeah, I know I'm not very clear here. So let's go to Caroline. Are you okay with this? That is not the case that ideas are objects in the mind, but ideas constitute the mind. And the body is an object in the mind. Yeah, you're okay with it. Yes, okay. Right, fine. So let's see if we look at Ian's question. Now, Ian, we dealt with your question. We are asking about something we haven't talked about yet.
No, I think it's still not clear, the relationship between human mind, ideas, object of the ideas, and the body. Because, for example, is the object in human mind or of the human mind? Like a relationship, like the act and the object of this act. It's, for example, the way human mind interacts with the body is through the idea of the body, or just directly, like it's conceived directly by the human mind. So yeah. I think to the second question, it's that the human mind, let's say, has a relationship with the body through the idea of the body, that everything in this world, everything that is, I would not say that each individual thing has an individual mind. It is rather God's mind. And that serves as a guarantee that each object, material object, it's, let's say, body object, has an idea, because it's guaranteed by God.
That the object has an idea, or that there is an idea of the object?
Idea. Let's replace object with material thing, not confuse it object with something.
Okay, material things.
I think it's the same. It either has an idea or there is an idea.
Is it the same, or can it be? Can you
Yeah,
see?
there is an idea. Yeah, there is an idea.
There is an idea of it.
Yes.
And the thing has an idea itself.
Yeah, every material thing has an idea, and this serves as a guarantee for its existence.
Okay, you mean that there is an idea of every material thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Including the body, the human body.
And this idea comes from God, you say?
Yes. It's that which animates everything.
Yeah. Okay, you okay with this explanation?
Yes, but still, I'm not sure why does Spinoza uses idea constituting the human mind instead of God, or are they the same? It's
Well, what do you think makes more sense here?
The the object of God, neither in this sentence.
Why? The idea, is it the same as a God or is it different?
No, let's say the idea of the thing, or each thing, that the ideas of multiple material things. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the same as God. It comes from God, it's an effect of his existence, but it's not the same.
Yeah. So would you say that your ideas are the same as you, or there is a difference?
It's a difference. The object of the idea constituting the human mind.
If there is a difference, it's not exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I think I could guess that this sentence means something like this. Okay, so the object, let's say, that we're talking about, that we're referring, is this body.
Mhm.
And the idea of the body, of this object, constitutes the human mind. So this is my question. Constitutes, or is the human mind, or is inside the human mind?
Well, here it says constitutes. Right?
Yeah, then we might have a contradiction, a problem.
What is
Then
it?
we go back to what Pierre says, that the body constitutes the human mind,
The body constitutes the mind.
which for the rest of Spinoza text, it seems that the mind comes first, and actually it's
Yeah, if we go back to what Andrea said, that in both the mind and the body come from God. And then we see that everything which is material has some kind of mind. And does it look like the mind comes first, or not necessarily?
Yeah, in this sense, it's not Cartesian. They're the same. At the same time, there are two effects of the same, let's say, substance or thing. So it's not first human mind as a cause of the body. It's not like this. There are two effects of the same thing.
And then if we say that the body constitutes the human mind, can this go along with this idea, do you think? Can they work together?
The object of the idea which constitutes. Okay.
So here it doesn't say that the body constitutes the human mind, right? It says that the idea constitutes the human mind. And the object of the idea is the body.
Okay. Okay, so the idea, it's rather the idea which, let's say, represents the human mind, or the idea about human mind. Yeah, its object, its correlation, its body. I would translate it like this and interpret it like this.
And could this idea go along with the idea that all matter has some kind of spirit, and it all comes from God? You think it works together?
I think that we can say about everything that the object of the idea, let's say, constituting the rock is the body of that rock, or the concept, the idea constituting the concept of the rock is the object of the idea constituting. Yeah, I'm not sure how to apply the same sentence with bodily, with other bodies.
What you just said, that there is an idea. The object of the idea is material, and then it's constituting the mind. And if we say that the idea here comes from God, you think this is compatible with the idea that all matter is animated and that everything comes from God? You think it can go together?
Yeah, I think it can. I don't think the other bodily objects has the same, let's say, degree of existence as the human, but everything is animated by God. Therefore, it has an idea. Therefore, let's say, has an existence, a form of existence, not just some dead chaotic matter, and can be known.
Yes. Yes, indeed, he says that there is a degree, there is a difference in reality, difference in appearance, and so on. It's not the same degree of animation, but it is still there to some degree. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that. Yeah, we can talk about the rock mind. I think maybe the rock didn't reach that degree.
Well, is it your problem of seeing rock as having a mind, or you think that this goes against Spinoza?
Okay, that's a good question.
So which is it?
I think it's mine.
It's external criticism here. You don't like the idea. But you see the difference between not liking the idea and finding a fault with the idea. Or you don't see a difference.
Sometimes can be that I don't like the idea because it has a fault.
What do you see what you did now? What did you do? You know?
I think if Spinoza's idea will be that.
No. Forget about Spinoza. You see the trick you just did.
Yeah, it's a tautology.
I don't think it's a tautology, but you try to cheat your way out of it by having it both at the same time.
Yes.
Is it that you don't like the idea, or that there is a problem with Spinoza's idea? And you say, maybe I don't like it because there's a problem. Well, you see there are two different things. Right? We have Hegel's external criticism, which is, I don't like your standards because I have other standards. But Hegel says that's a stupid criticism because one set of standards, it's just as bad as another. But internal criticism is where you can find some logical problem in the idea, or you can find some problem in the idea itself. Maybe he's contradicting himself, or what he's saying doesn't make logical sense or something. That's another thing.
Okay.
But here, when you say, I don't think it can be right that stones, rocks are animated, Well, that's because you have different standards. It doesn't go along with your worldview.
Mm.
But it's not a problem for Spinoza's philosophy.
Yeah, I think my first impression is that I'm rather not comfortable with this idea.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. But are you comfortable with the idea that animals have souls?
Mm. Yes.
Okay. What about plants?
Not so sure.
Not so.
Animals are animated. That's why they get the name from.
Anime, okay, and flowers, they're not animated.
Mm.
When they turn towards the sun.
Maybe maybe they have a passive soul, passive mind.
Passive mind. But rocks, no mind.
Yes, rocks are outside of.
Yeah.
Where-
Yeah, yes, you would add something.
Yeah, I'm talking. I'm trying to reverse the idea that because human, each, let's say, so my initial idea was that there is a human mind, and each human has a human mind, an individual mind, while with the rest of the things there is rather a common God's mind. Maybe humans don't have this individual human mind. It's also the same common.
You mean according to Spinoza?
Yes, yes, that.
Yeah. So you came with the idea that it's kind of the same mind, but
It's the same.
different degrees.
Yeah, it's God's mind, but just different different degrees. Some degree can ask questions, know itself and reality like humans. Other degrees are just limited to the concept, to the idea.
Yeah. Okay. You can accept it. Down to plants at least.
Yes, I think yes.
All right. Good. Yes, Andrea.
Yes, the exchange between you and Ian make me realize the reason why I have hard time to understand Spinoza in general, and especially this passage. So basically, I think I understood why I don't understand, which I think is a good starting point. And I think I have a time to understand it because I am projecting my vision of God, which is transcendent. And here, I think Spinoza is proposing to us a different conception of God, which is we could say pantheistic, so immanent in a way. So of course, if it's quite impossible to understand another world vision if you are stuck in yours. So I think that's why I had that time to understand, because I'm stuck in my transcendental idea of God. And here it's a kind of it's like if Spinoza is saying that the world as a rational structure, in a way, if there is a rational DNA which is in everything, human included, in different degrees. So the God is not separate from the world. The God is the word and express himself throughout everything exists.
Yes. So what in particular made this your transcendent view? What in particular made it difficult to understand this? Was it because you still had the idea of God being separated from the world?
Yes.
What seemed incomprehensible then in Spinoza?
But for example, when he says that all the idea comes from God, in my mind, it's maybe it sounds stupid, but I imagine an old guy with the idea, and the word comes from his idea that he has in his mind. So of course it sounds a bit bizarre and strange, yeah. But here I think there is not old guy nowhere, but there is kind of this rational din and a everywhere.
Mm.
And that's why everything is animated, because the ideas are there is a correspondence between ideas and bodies, and in a way the ideas is like the soul of the material. So everything is in a way is God and is alive.
Yes. Yeah. So there is no, even if we are talking about matter, we are talking about soul, we're talking about the God, but at the same time, it's the same thing.
Yes, that's I think
Yeah.
another reason why it's difficult to understand it, because it's all together in a way. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And the handbook didn't help you with this?
I was just try to remember, because I didn't. It's a few years that I don't teach Spinoza. So during your conversation with Ian, I tried to collect my memories about it, and I think it was worthy and useful, yeah, to try to make sense of this passage.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Pierre, yes.
Yes, at the end of the notes about the proposition 13, we have the idea of hierarchy between objects and between ideas. And the hierarchy is about reality, what contains the more reality. So I can read the part. Still, on the other hand, we cannot deny that ideas, like objects, differ one from the other, one being more excellent than another and containing more reality. Just that the object of an idea is more excellent than the object of another idea and contains more reality. So the idea of containing reality, I think it's also about knowledge, because if you are affected, I take the human being, if you are affected by something with your body, you learn about what is reality. So your body gives you some knowledge, and then your soul is affected also. So the idea that getting more aware of what is reality makes you perhaps more excellent than your past human being. So there is the idea of evolution, and you learn more and more. You are affected by experience. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so first of all, the awareness is the greater in a human being.
Yeah.
That would put the spirit or whatever soul at a higher degree than other beings, for instance.
Yeah, there are degrees. But I have a doubt about what is God, in fact, because if you go in the 13th proposition, the proof of the 13th proposition, you have the idea is that God can be affected, and that makes me crazy. I'm not sure of me, but if you see the number, in fact, it's never mind.
Yeah, do you find it?
Yes, no, it's the proof of the 12th proposition.
Mhm.
You see, insofar as he is considered as affected by the idea of the third object. So
whatsoever comes to pass in the object of any idea, the knowledge thereof is necessarily God insofar as he is considered as affected by the idea of the said object. Okay, so what's
so yeah, I have a question about the he, what it refers to. If it's God, then God can be affected, and it makes me crazy. God can't be here. The he, I don't know what he refers to.
Well, it would refer to God here.
Yes, so God can be affected.
Why does that make you crazy?
Because for me, God can't be affected.
Can't be affected.
Yeah.
Why?
God is God, it's an absolute, so you can't affect absolute.
Can't be affected.
But perhaps, yes, it's possible, but then it's not absolute anymore. It's a moving God. Then.
When Satan rebelled against God, you think God was affected?
Is considered as affected.
Yes, but Pierre, when Satan rebelled against God, was God affected or not?
I don't know. I don't know.
No,
I suppose yes. Yeah.
Yes. So why would he cast him down to hell if he wasn't affected? If he wasn't affected, he wouldn't have had to do anything.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, okay.
God can be affected.
So God can be affected in the idea of Spinoza God. Yeah.
And if poor humans sin and they are condemned to hell, is that also that something is which God is affected by?
Yeah. Is Christian? Does Spinoza is Christian? No. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So it makes sense.
I think it's Jewish.
Yeah, I know, you're right, he's Jewish. Yes. So to say that God could not be affected would kind of be to say that he doesn't care about anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think God has something pure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then if you see God as something pure, do you have a problem with Spinoza? Because he says that God is in everything. In the animals and the plants and the rocks and the dirt and the mud.
Yeah, it makes me think. So yes, I'm not. Yeah, it's strange for me that God can be affected. Then, but I'm okay with it. I don't know if I prefer this part or.
Yeah, but your idea of the purity of God, does that cause problems to understand Spinoza?
Yes. True. Yeah. Here, I like the idea of evolution. The idea that because of your body, you can learn more the reality, and then you get some knowledge.
Mhm.
So there is the idea of evolution and hierarchy also. There are better species than others.
Yes. But do you see the idea of evolution here in the text?
Yes, because at the end, I come back on the end, but the hierarchy to contain more reality. So there is some yes, how do you scale between species?
Yes. But do we see some change here? Because evolution is change.
Yes, with knowledge. If you get some knowledge, then you can learn.
But do you have this in the text that you acquire knowledge?
Yes, if you are affected by the idea of the third object, then you have more knowledge. It's the idea, I think.
So you think this can be transposed to the hierarchy, that you
Yeah,
have
yes.
a higher degree of animation?
Yes. I think, yes, the rock and the animals in general learn also. They get some knowledge with their body.
Yes.
So it's not just human being. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Right, fine. So let's see, did we deal with your problem? Andrea, you're right, it's not clear for me how God could constitute human's mind. Is it clear now?
Yeah, I would say it's more clear than before. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Yes. All right, so let's see, are there any more problems here of understanding that we should try to clarify before we move on? No? Okay. Now, let's do a little formal exercise and go to your answers for question number 2. So this question was, how does Spinoza's understanding of the relation between body and mind differ from Avicenna's, which was last week's text? And I want you to look at the answers here for question number 2 and see if you can find any formal problems in how people are answering these questions. Not about the content of the answer, but the formality, how it is answered, if you can see anything problematic here. Yeah, Anna.
Yes, I see a problem in Milo's answer.
Okay. What's the problem?
Well, there is a a disconnection between the two the two ideas, the one of Avicenna and the one of Spinoza.
There is a disconnection.
Yes.
What kind of disconnection?
Well, he okay, there is a false opposition.
Okay.
Because he says, while Avicenna argued that knowledge about soul is self-evident, and so we expect that for Spinoza it's not self-evident. But it's not what he says. He speaks about something else, which is the union about mind and body.
So he's
But
speaking about different things, not
yes,
similar things. Okay. And these two things that he brings up, can they work together? Could we put both ideas in the same philosopher?
sorry, I didn't understand your question.
These two ideas, he has one idea of Avicenna and one of Spinoza.
Yeah.
Now, do these two ideas rule out each other, or could we have both ideas at the same time and it could work?
Yes, I think it could work.
Okay. So we could say that the human mind is united to the body.
Yeah.
At the same time, say that knowledge about the soul is self-evident. It could work.
Yes.
Okay, so he didn't show a difference then.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. And if you look at the question, what kind of difference was he supposed to find?
Oh, yes, it was about the relation between body and mind, not about how evident or not it is to know about soul.
Yeah. So for Spinoza, for Avicenna, he didn't deal with the question.
Yes. Yeah.
Talked about something else. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Great. Nice. Can you write underneath number 2 just short? Just write what the problem is.
Yes. It's the main problem. Yeah. So it implies that yes, he cannot differentiate it with the Spinoza vision. So.
Can you add what it deals with instead?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Right. Anyone else on this one to add something? Andrea, you have something?
Yeah, you ask her to check if there is a formal problem in some answers, and I think
Yeah, first, just if anyone wants to say something else about Milos also.
The same. Okay.
Yeah. But maybe there is no one. Okay, so Andrea, go ahead with yours.
All right. I see a problem in Pierre's answer.
Okay. So what's the problem?
I mean, the formal problem that I see is that you're asking for explaining the difference between two different vision, and here I think there is just one vision. It is explaining the Spinoza's vision, I guess, but there is no the connection with the Avicenna one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm glad because it's rather obvious, yes. But how do you explain this thing that you did?
Because I don't work on the Anas things, the Avicenna's text.
Yeah.
So, and I want to write something.
You want to write something.
Yeah.
Better to write something completely unrelated than write nothing.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Mm.
But did you have some problems with the text? Of understanding the text?
Yeah, now it's more clear, but yes,
Yeah,
at the
from
beginning,
the beginning, did you have some problems of understanding?
yes.
Then you could have written something in number one.
Yes.
You were supposed to write your problems.
Okay. You got me. Yeah, true.
Yeah, but what happened here? Why did you do this?
It was so confusing for me that I am more in the positive mood to write what I understand and not what I don't, because it's too much. So I decided to make short sentence that I understand.
Okay, so you went for the very slightest thing, and that was something which you understood.
Sorry?
You went for the very minimalist thing that you could do, and that was something which you had understood. Everything else was just
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, but the confusion is a bit cleared up now.
Yeah, it's more clear. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So Andrea, just for formality's sake, can you also write underneath Pierre's answer what the problem is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's find more problems. You see something else? Yeah. Anna, you have another one?
Yes, on Caroline's answer.
Okay. So what's the problem?
I deal with the first paragraph.
Mhm.
I think there is a misinterpretation when she says that the mind is the essence of our being thinking, and that in a sense the body is possibly secondary to that, but yes, secondary to that.
Yes.
Maybe it's over interpretation, but she.
Okay, but now you're talking about the content,
Oh yes, sorry.
not the formal aspect of it.
Yes, okay. Yes, sorry.
But you see a formal aspect or no? Follow the rules.
Well, yes, okay. The formal aspect is that the question was only about the difference and not about similarity. So she's doing something that is not asked.
So she's showing some similarity, you say?
Yeah.
Where does she show that?
Well, she says Spinoza's philosophy seems to be in agreement with Avicenna in that, and she explains.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here. Okay, so here's the similarity.
Yeah.
And here we have the difference.
Yes.
See? Where's Spinoza has a minus? Yes, okay. All right, so she followed the instructions, but then did something more.
Yeah.
What else to do? Yes. Caroline, well, are you a good student? You want to do some extra work here.
Yeah, I was sort of just putting my thoughts down, maybe more just to make sense of it to myself.
Yeah.
So maybe I should have taken that part out again afterwards.
Yeah. So can you see a problem with your strategy?
Maybe if I was to leave it all in, I should have put the differences first. Otherwise, I should have just taken the first part out once I'd thought through it a bit.
Yeah, but do you see a difference? Sorry, a problem with this thing you're doing? A problem that it could cause?
Maybe just more confusion.
And why do you think? Why can it cause confusion?
Because it asks for differences, and if I put a similarity, it could seem like I'm thinking that's a difference where it's not.
Yes. Yes, it could cause confusion, yes. And you also said that you were writing it to make it clear to yourself.
Yeah.
So do you see how this could also cause confusion?
Yeah.
For reader of the text, yes. So yes, it's a good idea to, yes, in this case, follow the instructions and try to do it as, yes, as clear as possible.
Okay.
And but you work in a school, right?
Yeah.
You teacher?
Kind of.
Yeah, but you work with students, you work with children.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's a kind of school affliction, school disease that, yes, do more, write everything you know. And if you're a good student, you will give some more and all of your ideas to make to make the teacher happy. Instead of focusing on doing something which is good and clear and concise. So there's often the idea that, well, if you give something more, you show all your knowledge, all your erudition, and then the teacher will be happy. You're familiar with this functioning?
Yeah.
Can it even be the case that maybe you tell your students to do it? Write some more, write some more.
Yeah, we normally, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. And it's usually seen as a good thing.
Well, no, we normally give them a space to write down their thought processes so that if their answer's not making sense, we can see how they got to that point.
Ah,
So it's not necessarily just them writing everything they know or they think they know, it's more us seeing how they got there or didn't get there.
but in their writing, they separate the answer from the thought process.
They're supposed to, yeah, or they don't.
They,
Really.
they don't. Okay. It can be confusing, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And
Well, clearly they've taught me well.
do you work with them on that to make them separate the answer from the thought process? Or not so much?
Yeah, I do try, but obviously I'm not quite good at it.
Well, if you're doing the same thing yourself, maybe not. But you see the benefit of separating it to have
Yeah.
a concise answer in itself.
Yeah.
And then if you want to add the thought process, okay, but do it on the side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here, in our work here, all is needed is your answer. And if we see a
Okay.
problem, we will ask you. So then we can check your thought process. And see
Okay.
if there's a mistake, where did it go wrong? So you don't have to write it. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Good. All right, fine. So maybe, Anna, you could just write a little comment underneath how you want to summarize this thing. Yeah. Can you put it under number 2?
Sorry?
Can you put it under number 2?
Ah, okay. Yes. All of it, I put it down.
Yes, underneath number 2.
Ah, yes, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so there are more problems to be found. So more formal problems. So keep looking. Okay, Andrea, where did you find one?
I found one in mine.
Right, so what's the problem?
Well, I propose two different difference
Mhm.
And I find a problem in the second one,
Which is,
which is in Spinoza, there is no creation. The mind is already a kind of expression of God. In Avicenna, the mind seems to be created. And the formal problem is that the difference doesn't deal with the topic that the question is asking for, which is the relation between mind and body. And here I'm dealing with the concept of creation of the mind.
Mhm.
So I think it's not relevant.
Yeah. So what's your explanation then? Why did you do it?
Because I had this idea. I think it was worthy, and I wanted to share. So
Yes,
I
of course.
tried to put the idea in the answer anyway, even if it wasn't.
Did you know it when you wrote it that this is besides the point? But I'm going
No,
to tell you.
when I wrote it, I think it was relevant with the question. But now, by reading again, I noticed that it's not. So I was more focused on myself than the question. It was
Yeah.
more much narcissistic, let's say.
Yes, you just had a good idea
Yes,
to share it. Yes.
yes. More expressing than maybe thinking, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So then I let you formulate the problem.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good. Apparently Spinoza spread the confusion among the people here because we only have one person left, Ion, and there's a formal problem in yours as well. So who sees it? You see it yourself?
Yes, maybe it's pretty obvious. I wanted to let other people, but
So tell us the obvious.
I think it's the same case as Milos and Andrea, that I answer a different question. I answer rather that the difference regarding God and perception between two authors, two texts, rather than the difference regarding mind and body relation.
Okay. It starts out well, right? You say what you're going to do. It sounds good. The difference between the two texts regarding the mind-body relation is, but then you're saying you don't deal with the mind-body relation.
Yeah, I'm just, in Spinoza's case, I'm just throwing mind and body together.
Okay, can you read what he wrote about Spinoza?
For Spinoza, God serves as a guarantee for clear and true perception of the mind and body.
Okay, so what does this mean?
That we can perceive body and mind because of God. That we can trust the perception of the mind and body and everything that happens between those two because of God.
Yes.
So the
I think that's an essential idea in Spinoza's text.
I think at the time that I wrote the answer, it was, let's say, the only idea that I was able to understand, and the difference to find in
Yes.
the other text.
But then it would mean that for Avicenna, God does not serve as a guarantee for a clear and true perception of the mind and body.
No.
And you think that is the case with Avicenna?
Yes. God doesn't have so important role. It is only mentioned at the beginning that
Yeah.
human is created, and that's it.
But do you see a problem here with your idea?
Former problem that it doesn't answer
the problem with putting these two ideas against each other. A problem with saying that for Avicenna, God is not so important for perception of body and mind.
Maybe that I take one concept from Spinoza and try to find the relevance in the Avicenna.
Yeah.
That of importance of God.
Is there such a relevance in Avicenna's text?
No.
So the Avicenna text doesn't say anything about what the God guarantees or not. It hardly mentions God.
Yes, in fact,
but the fact that the text hardly mentions God doesn't mean that Avicenna thinks that God isn't important in this aspect.
I would say yes. If he doesn't mention it, if it's not mentioned in the text, then...
Well, is it possible that it's not mentioned in the text because it's not relevant to his idea?
Yes. Okay, yeah. So it's in fact two problems with my answer. One, that it deals with different concept, God and perception, rather than relation of soul and body.
Yeah.
And the second, that I take even this concept, it's relevant for Spinoza, it's totally irrelevant for Avicenna, and I treat it as a difference, while it's not a difference.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that God is not relevant for Avicenna, he is, but in Avicenna's thought experiment, he doesn't mention God so much because the perception that God gives us, okay, that's a bit beside the point. That's not what his text is about.
Yeah, exactly.
His text is about what can you perceive? You can perceive, it's possible to perceive your mind, but not perceive your body. And whether God gives us this perception or not, okay, that's a bit beside the point. That's not what he's talking about at the moment. But the fact that he's not talking about it doesn't mean that he thinks that God is not important here.
Yes, I confused something that's not relevant with a difference, something that is missing in Avicenna's text with something that's different.
Exactly. Or you confused the fact that it is missing with the fact that it is irrelevant. Because he doesn't mention it means he thinks it's not important. No, he doesn't mention it because for his example, it's not relevant. It doesn't mean that God is not relevant, in himself. But you don't need God in this example.
Okay.
You only need the man.
Okay, so he doesn't, let's say, argue that God is not does not guarantee. He doesn't argue. He just is
Indeed,
relevant God here.
he's not talking about it.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't mean that God is not. Maybe Avicenna thinks that God guarantees this perception. I don't know. He doesn't mention it because he doesn't have to mention it in his text, because his text is about something else.
Mm-hmm.
His text is about, in a certain condition, what can you perceive? If God gives you this perception, okay, maybe he does, but for the argument's sake, it's not important.
Mm-hmm.
You look confused.
No, I'm just double checking, and indeed, for Avicenna, God is irrelevant. For Spinoza, is, and that's not a difference of the ideas regarding mind-body relationship.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So can you try to write a very short summary underneath number 2 here, your number 2, of the 2 problems we found?
Okay. Yeah. Two. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Let me think. The perception. Yeah, I think.
Yes.
Maybe this part, not so much that God is not relevant, but it's too of a negation. I would say God is beyond the point, or
Yeah, it's beside the point. It's not important for for his examples. He doesn't need to mention it because that's not what he's trying to prove.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. Good. So, right. I think we cleared up some confusions. Yes. Anyone wants to add anything before we stop? Andrea?
Yeah, I was just thinking that to me it's always interesting to see how feelings, prejudice, and subjectivity affect our way to think.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about the Spinoza vision, which says that everything is the expression of the same substance, which is God. So I was wondering, and I know it's late to answer this question, but it's just a question I don't know, to share with you. It's which is the role of the confusion and then the mistake we create in order to know the world? Is the confusion and the mistakes different expression of God as well, or rather they are a distance of, from God? That was the question I was asking myself right now.
Yeah. What do you think makes more sense? That everything we do is directly from God and part of God's plan, or that we have some freedom to make mistakes, create problems?
Yes, I think the second one, I think the concept of freedom could explain this paradox in a way.
Yes. Otherwise, Spinoza would be rather deterministic.
Yeah, okay, yes. But still, that's, I think, raises an interesting problem, which is that there is something that it doesn't express the divine substance, which is freedom. Is something that creates something different than God. So there is not like exactly a coincidence between God and world.
Yeah. But the freedom would be an expression of God. The freedom in itself would come from God.
I don't know.
Well, do you think that if we have free will, do you think that God gave us free will?
Yeah, if from a Christian point of view, yes, but from a pantheistic point of view, I don't know if it works as well.
No.
Because there is nothing that gives, because God is in a way is everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know.
Yes. But the free will, then, what would it be in a pantheistic worldview? What would it be an expression of?
I would say kind of expression of the distance between humans and the divine structure of the world.
Mm. But do we find such a distance in a pantheistic worldview?
No.
No?
Yeah, that's the problem. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, okay. So let's not try and solve it right now.
It is too late to
I
try
think
to
it's
solve
too late indeed. And at this point, I have really no idea. So let's think about it.
Yes.
Unless anyone has a short answer to this question. No. Okay, good. Anything else? No? All right. So thank you for today.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thanks.
Bye, thanks.